Hello, welcome back to my reading nook. I'm Sandy, and this is Bookstahuda. Okay, today's video is about these books here, which is fantasy series that I love. They're mostly young adult-ish. Well, maybe not. Actually, no, they're kind of half and half between young adult and adult. And some of them I have finished, and some of them I have woefully not, so I'm making this video to sort of catalog those things and to tell people who may not have heard about them. This is probably one of the first fantasy series I ever read, and I have never read the final book. There are 5 of them. It's the Lost Years of Merlin series. I've carried these with me through many moves. I've definitely read the first one, The Lost Years of Merlin, by T.A. Barron at least 5 times. I remember absolutely loving this book. You can just disappear into the world, and it follows Merlin as a young boy. He washes up on a beach and meets a girl whose name I forget, and they go on adventures together and probably save the world at some point. The last one is The Wings of Merlin, I think, and I don't own it, so that's something I should do at some point. Another young adult series, I think I've only read the first 2 of the Chronicles of Narnia series. Now that I'm, a lot more learned about literature, I want to reread these and read the rest of the series. Yay. I also, of course, love Harry Potter. To one that sort of bridges the gap, this is the Mortal Instruments series, which I've talked about a few times. This is the final book in the series, which I haven't read yet, so I've mostly avoided spoilers, so I'm gonna wait till I graduate, and then I'm thinking about rereading the whole series in just one shot. When I read the series the first time through, the first 5 books, I read them when I was in Europe over summer vacation, and it took me, less than 2 weeks to get through, so this is gonna be an emotional finale. When I finished the prequel series to this, The Infernal Devices, I think I cried for about an hour, so I'm expecting to have a similar sort of reaction to this. Moving on to Dragonlance, which is, I would say, teen to adult. I've talked about this in my last video. I'm still, I'm stuck in the middle of the first book of the Lost Chronicles trilogy, and I have the other 2, and this just looks like a nice summer dive into Kryn yet again. Should I say something about this series? I probably should. So, this is Raistlin, and he's the best. Disagree if you want, internet. Dragonlance owes a lot to Lord of the Rings, I would say, and I have read The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, and I have started The Silmarillion, but I am woefully at the beginning. I plan to read this over the summer as well. I really love elves and all of the lore and that kind of thing, so I'm expecting this to be right up my alley. From there, we can go on to Game of Thrones, or A Song of Ice and Fire. Is that the actual title? Yes. I have the first 3 books. I have read the first 2. I like the TV series better, but it is really interesting to read the books and get the sort of the full picture, especially in the first book with the Drogo character changes that make me angry. I think I will, maybe slowly make my way through the 3rd, 4th, 5th, continuing on books. Next, this is definitely adults. I read Margaret Atwood's Orcs and Crake in an American literature class, even though Margaret Atwood is Canadian. Our teacher just said, she's so great, we're gonna steal her and make her, part of the American literature course, because she wanted to teach this book so badly. And I'm so glad she did, because it's wonderful. There's a lot of social commentary. It's a post-apocalyptic world. It's very Final Fantasy VII. There's just a lot of things that I connected between those 2 works. And I have not read either of the sequels. I have The Year of the Flood. I do not have the 3rd book, but this is definitely going to be a summer thing. But I also have the rest of her books to read because I've only ever read this book by Margaret Atwood, and it was so good that I want to read all of them. Last fantasy series that I have to recommend is sort of, it's less fantastical than the rest of these. This takes place in Canada. It's the Blood Books by Tanya Huff. Her writing style is lovely. She's hilarious. She's got very strong feminist main characters. And this is a detective series about Henry V, who, Henry Fitzroy, he did not die. He became a vampire. And now he and a Canadian policewoman fight crime together. And it's great! There's also a television series called Blood Ties, I think. I will correct that here if that's wrong, but it's so cheesy, but I love it. It's so great. I may be the old, well, I'm one of the few people that might love that show, but it only lasted 2 seasons, but I absolutely love it. It's just great. Can I beam any more about this? There is also a sequel series about one of the smaller characters in here, and Henry. I've tried to start it like 3 times, and I just never... I think it's the lack of main female lead. I have the first 2 books in that series, just never pulled me in the same way. If I do reread these, then I'll try that. I'm gonna try that book again sometime, because her writing style is the same. So, those are my favorite fantasy series that I have completed / need to complete. I'd be interested to see which fantasy series you are reading / need to complete. Thank you for watching. Books to Huda! Ooh, spoilers. Maybe I'll cut that out.